All right, everybody. I know a lot of you've probably seen the about the interview with Candus on the Rogersville Review, and some of you may have already seen the interview with H on the interview room. And if you watched also the live afterwards, where he had the doctor. Now I can't remember her name. I should have wrote it down. I may have wrote it down, and I'll get to it when I get to that. I don't see that I wrote it down. No, I did not write her name down. But I'm going to cover both. I'm going to try to move this along very quickly. If YouTube turns off the comments, that's fine. YouTube has been going through and turning off the comments on anything that has to do with Summer's videos. I honestly can't blame them. And that has to do with a lot of people clicking report, and also all the hateful comments that are coming through on people's videos, and that they're having to delete themselves. I know they've deleted a lot of comments on my videos, and when they have to do that, they just automatically turn off your comments. So that's part of why that's happening. I know a lot of creators have had their comments turned off, and if the comments are off on this one, they'll stay off. I'm not going to fight it. So let's get right into this. I want to make this all one swoop without having to edit, so bear with me, guys. If I misspeak or something, it's going to happen. Also, the last video I did with a Miracle Box session, Summer said that she could see a candle. Well, little Summer, I lit a candle for you, dear. So, Candus's interview with Rogersville Review. And a lot of this is alleged. These are her quotes. This is from the interview. Candus said that she dropped off her mother, which we will call Candy, at the ER. And then she claimed that she went to H's house because she was invited there. So they weren't sitting in the hot truck, which I found kind of odd. Why was she invited over to their house if her and Allie did not get along? And she kept referring over and over, like she was driving home, that this truck was hot. It was a very hot day. Anyway, we'll just go with that. She claims that while she was there, her mother called to come get her from the ER. So she was getting ready to leave, and H asked if he could go along, which I didn't understand why. And so they went ahead, and then they went to drop off the prescription. And it was going to take 15 to 20 minutes. So they decided to go to Warrior State Park to take Summer swimming because it was hot. Quote unquote, was hot. It was baking hot, Candus said. And she said it was an impulse to go swimming at the cove by the horse stable. And she keeps talking about instead of sitting in the truck, over and over she kept saying, instead of sitting in the hot truck, over and over, like she was driving that point home. When asked about if Summer had any accidents or incidents, like allegedly falling or going under the water, Candus replied, and I'll quote, that boy lied on everything that happened, because that place I was at, there was no rocks. She didn't slide on no rocks and fall in the water. She wasn't under the water for 20 seconds or more like he said. That was just a bunch of lies he made up. I don't know why he did that." End quote. So right now, the only 4 people that were there that know what happened are Candus, H, and they are basically right now in a hissing match of he said, she said, Summer, who is missing, and Grandma Candy, who hasn't said a word. And I think, personally, my opinion, it's time to put the heat on. And I don't mean on her bad knee in the form of a heat pad. I mean, question her, because she is just sitting there playing deaf and dumb, basically. Like, hear no evil, speak no evil, allegedly. My opinion, don't come for me. Candus claims they went to Walgreens, then to Priceless, dropped off H, and came home. From there, they planted the flowers while the boys watched YouTube videos. Side note, or was it watch TV or on the internet? Which I guess, when you think about it out in the country, you would have to kind of guess at this, right? When you figure out in the country there's not a whole lot to watch. I don't know. So she said Summer came out to plant flowers, and she describes how she put Summer herself put the rocks on top and then asked for candy, and then she walked her, and I quote, all the way over to the house, end quote. But yet it's only a matter of a few feet from the camper, which also brings me to ask, if it isn't that far, so close, how could you not know if you're just sitting out there wrapping your mother's knee with the brace, that you didn't notice somebody if you're only gone a couple minutes coming in your house or in your driveway? So Candus goes on to say, she searched in the house and couldn't find her, then yelled outside for her, then calls Don to tell him that she couldn't find Summer. He tells her to call 911. She claims that Summer never leaves the yard or wanders off because they told her of the bears and the wolves and the snakes. Candus does say that they are only 6 dogs and that they rarely bark. Because I know there was a lot of questions how many animals they had. Also, Candus says that TBI questioned her, and I quote, for 4 or 5 times about the timeline about that day, she says. You guys still don't get it at all. I was going to lie. I would have to think about it. It just comes out. I just have to sit here. I think about what I did. I knew what I did. I just spit it out to you 20,000 times. End quote. So that was pretty much, in a nutshell, Candus's interview with Rogersville Review. And it's odd how this interview pops up on a Sunday. And now we have H's interview with the other one. Now I'm losing my train of thought. But it's called The Interview Room. And there's a lot of discrepancies between the two stories. And I'm going to get right into them because this can be a little long-winded. H said that he was interviewed with his mother and grandmother present. I noticed that he fidgeted quite a bit, which my son had ADHD, and that is exactly how my son would act. And I picked up on that really, really quickly. So one of the first things that he mentioned was that she called him out of the blue, and they hadn't spoken for quite some time, and just told him that her mother was in the hospital but wouldn't tell him why. So he invited her over with his mother's permission. And so she was invited over. And she gets there and he has them come inside out of the heat of the truck. So that is correct. She did have Summer with her, but that was all that was with her. And she told him, and this is his words, that the boys went to work with their dad. Now that's not what she said. She said that the boys were home cleaning because CPS had been there and they had only a couple days to get the house in order. So like I said, he said it had been a long time since they had seen him, and he said he had a hard time with time. My son also had a hard time with time. Unless he was looking at a clock and checking time, hours and minutes did not mean a whole lot to him. And if you know anyone with ADHD, you'll pick that up on them. I don't know if it's that way with all the people with ADHD, but I did notice later on that they did say that he did have ADHD, so it is a common thing. I don't know if all the people have the same issue, but he said at first he thought it might have been about 11 a.m. or maybe as early as 10 a.m. But they had planned on going fishing. And he told Chris from the interview room that Summer did seem to be okay. Her grandma called while they were sitting inside, and his mom, Allison, was sleeping, to be picked up. And he sat in the front seat on the way to get candy. But while they were there, Candus put Summer's swimsuit on her because they had planned on going to, where was it? Jonesboro to the water park. So that was something that had never been spoken about before. And she was wearing a pink or purple tank top and shorts. But like I said, Candus had changed her into her swimsuit at Allison's. He said that there were boxes in the back and TVs, so they must have been cleaning up for CPS. He said that they went to get candy from the ER, then went to Walgreens, and he said that Walgreens was backed up, so it was supposed to have been about 15 minutes or so, but it was going to take like 30 or 35, and they went through the drive-thru to drop off the prescriptions. He also said that while they were in the drive-thru, Don called and said that there had been a dude that has been at the property stalking the little kids and been trying to touch them inappropriately, hugging them, trying to hug them. And then, I don't know the whole story. Allison jumps in and said that there was a guy that has been off and on, would come up there, that drinks heavily, and when he gets thrown out, he comes up there and he sleeps in a shed. Believe it or not, that is what she said. So it was odd because when the phone rings and she said that it was him, she told everybody to be quiet, and H said that he had to turn off his phone so that nobody could hear his phone, so nobody knew he was there. So after the drive-through, they went to get cigarettes, a Puff Bar, and one single twisted tea, which, as we found out while he was talking, the twisted tea was supposedly for Candus, but he asked her if he could have it, and she gave it to him. And the swimming hole is not actually part of the state park itself, but it's over by the horse stables, and it is actually a horse pond kind of thing. And she had given H the twisted tea, and they both were, I guess, vaping, and Summer went in swimming alone, and while they watched and scrolled TikTok and Facebook, because she was showing him what all she'd been doing apparently, Grandma was putting minutes on her phone, but earlier he said that she had been on her phone, but then he turned around and said that she was putting minutes on her phone. So I'm not sure which it is, but he also claimed that he doesn't have TikTok. Now, do you not have to have TikTok in order to watch TikTok videos? I don't know. I don't watch TikTok, and I don't have TikTok, so I don't know. So H said that he thought that Summer was under 10 or 15 seconds. Candus was busy showing her her latest videos, and he happened to notice that Summer was under the water, and he took off his t-shirt and ran out to get her, and he pulled her up, and she giggled, and he asked her if she was okay. She said she was swimming under the water. And he said that he thought it was only 10 or 15 seconds, but he didn't actually see her go under, so he said it could have been longer. So he said he didn't know how long for sure. So he said that also Candus and Candy were also, at this time, had wandered off and was talking about flowers that they wanted, that were there, that they wanted to pick, but they, I guess, couldn't find them at this time. I would have been worried about my child being under the water, not about looking for flowers, but that's not me. Again, remember, this is all from the interview, alleged. This is straight from the interview, guys. So, 15 minutes later, he said that they went to go back to Walgreens to get the scripts through the drive-thru. After they left Walgreens, they didn't go straight to Priceless like she told everybody they did, and then took H home, sorry. She turned around, and this is what he said that they did. He said that they went to Hippie House to see what was in there, and Candus and Candy went in, and he said he doesn't like TikTok. Summer, that's what they were watching. Summer talked about LOL dolls and puppets. The time that they were in this hippie house place, which is like a tobacco place where you can buy vapes and things like that also. So they were in there at least 5 minutes, came out with 2 more vapes, one for him and one for her, and then they I guess they went after that to get the scripts. He was kind of all over the place, which, you know, it's hard to follow him. Then they went through the drive-thru. Then he is on, at this point, he said he is sitting in the middle, and Summer is on the outside, sitting on a pillow. And then they went through the Sonic to get slushies, and Summer had a blue slushie. So her lips should have had blue on them, or the inside of her mouth should have been blue, but if she drank it through a straw, just only her mouth would have been blue. And let me see, last slushie I had was red. It turned my lips, didn't turn my lips red, but it did turn my mouth a little bit red, but not real bad. They're not as bad as like the slushies you get at like the convenience stores. From there, they went to Priceless, and Candus and Candy went in, and he was still watching TikTok and music videos with Summer. Now, they were in there, he said, for about probably close to an hour. Okay, so this makes up some of the time that was lost. Because they bought a bunch of groceries and came back out. He said that the only thing different he noticed about her was her haircut, but he didn't notice her feeling sick or acting a little strange. So, again, they talked about where the milk jugs were placed. He said that he had them on his lap because everything else was put in the back of the truck. Anyways, and when they questioned what Summer was doing when they got to his house, H said that she was not asleep. Okay? And when he got out of the car, he said that Summer was sitting by the door. And he got out and got his second vape from Candus. This is where Allie came in and said that the milk was in the middle and Summer was sitting up against the milk, basically calling out her son. So here we have 2 stories within seconds of each other. Who do you believe? So, anyways, on to later that evening. That was pretty much where this interview kind of went haywire. You couldn't make heads or tails out of it. You could tell H suddenly got very, very nervous. Extremely nervous. So around 7:30 that night at the park he was at with his girlfriend, Candus called him. Said Summer was missing, and he said that Candus had a tendency to, when she was high and drunk, to think that her kids were missing when they were just outside playing, and start calling people telling them that her kids were missing. He had her try to call his mother to tell her this, and I don't know exactly what all happened, but that's kind of where that ended. On from there, he said that she called him the next day, said that she was at the police and had to go get another polygraph, that she'd already had one but had to take a second one, and that TBI told him not to, and he also said that TBI told him not to speak to her. So apparently he had already spoken. This was after TBI. He had already spoken to TBI at that point. And then they had taken his phone. Also, this is where the interview kind of got a little all over the place, so it was hard to follow once he got really nervous. Anyways, a couple days later, Candus showed up at their home and started telling him what not to mention when he's being interviewed by them. And they asked him what his gut feeling was. And he flat out said real quick, he said that he felt that Candus did something wrong. And he also said that the grandma was out of her mind. And they asked H also what he felt that should happen to the person that did, if something happened to Summer, what he felt should happen to them. And he said that the person that did this should be locked up for a very, very, very long time. And he answered that very quickly. He also stated that he had grabbed Candus's cell phone to see if, because Candus and Don went and got phones right away after the TBI took their phones for evidence, went right to AT&T and got new phones immediately. So he said that when she was there, he had laid his phone next to hers and picked her phone up and was looking at it, and to see if she had anything to hide. And he said that he found 13 messages in the trash that wasn't deleted. And one of the messages had said something to the effect that it was done. And he felt that that had something to do with Summer. So there are a lot of other points that were brought across in the live afterwards, where they discussed the 3 different stages of a drowning, the dry drowning, and all that, and that it could very well have been, she could have aspirated, and the fluid just eventually could have caused something to happen. It could have been any number of things. The only way we're going to ever know is if little summer is found. So hopefully this weekend, with EcuSearch coming in, that summer is found, and that will put a lot of speculation and answers being brought out to all of our questions, and the proper people being taken care of. And watch the interview room tomorrow. He's going to be putting out part 2. He's going out to the lake. The lake is not that deep as you go out, or the pond, the horse pond. And he says, and then after a little ways, there's a drop off and it's really deep. So, anyhow, guys, thanks for watching. Like I said, I'm just trying to get this done so that I don't have to edit this. I'll have to go through and edit this a little bit, but yeah. This candle's for you, Summer. And everybody, hug and love on your babies. Take care of everybody. Bye, guys.